Hey guys, Christopher Greene, AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It is May 9th, 2020. I wanted to provide you guys some perspective and motivation today and explain what's happening in the U.S. and global economy and why I believe that we are never going back to where we once were. I personally, this is my humble opinion, do not believe that they will ever reopen up the economy as it once was. And just like we saw post-2001 with the tragic events during that time period, and as we saw in 2008 and 2009, what happens is they alter society permanently. Whether or not that is through legislation, that is through banking, that is through new social distancing measures, or new ways that we as human beings need to operate within this new normal, which is what they've dubbed it. And there's a lot of things that are not adding up that actually point to that direction, that point to that thesis, that this is a short-term reopening of the economy, in my opinion, but our government is very concerned about a second wave, and they've been telling us to be prepared for that. Just like 3 months ago, I was talking about how this would be the biggest story in the world, that you could expect a global lockdown, and you could expect that this would be very, very tragic, and you could expect a stock market crash, and you could expect record unemployment levels, and you could expect all of this chaos and crisis that we're currently living in. This story has not finished and has not been written yet. So what's happening? Let's talk about a couple things. I mentioned yesterday that both Google and Facebook announced that they will not be having the majority of their employees come back to their offices throughout the country, whether or not this is Silicon Valley, San Francisco, or it's anywhere else, until 2021. So the largest tech companies in the world, and I think you should take that very seriously, will not have their employees come back until next year, which means they are not expecting things to really open up again until 2021. In addition to that, we had news breaking today that 11 of Donald Trump's Secret Service agents has tested positive. We also learned yesterday, I believe it was, that Mike Pence's staffer and also the valet of Donald Trump has tested positive. So you have to, think about this critically for a minute. You're telling me they're reopening up the economy when Donald Trump's own Secret Service, 11 of them, are positive with the infection? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Also in the news today, out of the United Kingdom, they are considering, and very likely will put into effect, a 14-day, fortnight mandatory quarantine for all incoming visitors, even returning residents to the United Kingdom. So we see no signs at all of a loosening of international travel. We see no signs of improvement with the airlines, for example. That's why Warren Buffett, I believe, sold all of his stocks and admitted that he was wrong because he's expecting ghost planes and bankruptcy. And he doesn't think this is going to clear up anytime soon. That's also why he recommended to his audience to read a book that talks about 1929 and the Great Depression. That's what Buffett actually recommended. So, it tells us where Warren Buffett's head is at. We had the worst unemployment numbers we have ever seen, ever. The worst numbers, 30 million people unemployed in this country. And that is expected to go much higher, in addition to GDP to continue to collapse. We're seeing commodity prices like oil. Oil actually went to zero. Isn't that kind of funny? All these critics like Warren Buffett said that Bitcoin would go to zero. And instead of that happening, Bitcoin's been skyrocketing. It just hit about $10,000 per token just the other day, trading a little bit under that now. But instead of that happening, oil went to zero. And then we had 30 million jobs lost. And it seems like all the new opportunity is in these new areas that we've been talking about and discussing for years. So there's a lot of negativity out there, and that's not the point of this video. This video is to explain to you what I think is coming next and what you can do to be proactive and take action today to actually excel and succeed in this environment. So stop asking yourself, let's say you're unemployed, or let's say you've been furloughed, or you're out of a job. Stop asking yourself, why did this happen to me? Right? Which is being a victim. And instead ask, why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for me? Right? You see, just asking the same question, but in a little different way. It's a lot more optimistic. And it puts the idea and the thread of opportunity in your brain. You must understand that what we have happening is a seismic shift in our civilization. We truly have, on both coasts of the United States, just if we're looking at the USA, but it's kind of like this worldwide, where you have the banking system in New York, you have Washington, D.C., you have politicians on the West Coast, Silicon Valley, you have the tech billionaires, you have Amazon, you have Jeff Bezos, all these people. And then we have kind of middle America. They're not really sure what to do here. Okay, there was an announcement as well, another leading indicator. Elon Musk says he's had enough of California. He's going to move his entire operation and headquarters out of California. And guess where he's going? No one even had to tell me. I said, obviously he's going to go to Texas because that's a liberty, freedom fighting state with just a freer, more open economy, and it's a better place to do business in, which is exactly why Elon Musk is running for his life, so to speak, to get out of California as soon as possible. So you need to start asking yourself, stop asking, why did this happen to me? But why is this happening for me? Let me give you another example. Because of these events, it's only proving how valuable online education is, online platforms are, social media marketing is, e-commerce is, your ability to get your product, your service, whatever industry you might be in online. Because ever since the economy has been closed, it's proven to really be the only essential industry in existence. And this is why people like Jeff Bezos have gotten richer. His net worth went up like $25 billion. This is why Bitcoin continues to skyrocket. This is why all these blockchain technologies that I've been teaching about at my school for years are going through the roof. And they're going to go much, much higher because all of this human capital, all of this energy has to go somewhere. All this money's got to go somewhere. Where's the money going to go? Right? If baby boomers are concerned about their retirement savings and continue to watch stocks collapse, mistrust and lose trust in the system, and then we have inflation, maybe hyperinflation in this country, which is very possible. Okay, it's very possible that happens because we've had record bailouts, trillions and trillions of dollars to grease the system, all this stimulus, which has been going on for generations now. So at some point, they can't kick the can down the road, and all this money and energy, it has to go somewhere. So where is it going to go? And I've been talking about this for years. It's very strange how 10, 12 years ago, people used to ask me things like, Christopher, you can make money online, and then they'd laugh. Literally. To now it's gone from not only can you make money online, that's the only place you can make money. See how that worked? And you got to be forward thinking here. This is what people don't understand about blockchain at my school, bitcoinrich.com. You see, we're always thinking years ahead, always about 5, 10 years ahead. And by the time people realize, that that's the truth, it's already happened, and then we've moved on another 10 years to the next opportunity. Just like I left the mainland 3 months ago because I was expecting a global lockdown. People made fun of me and they said it wasn't going to happen. And it's one of the reasons, thankfully, thank God, I'm sitting here in paradise while other people are back home. Not that Arizona's a bad place. I have much of my business still there and expect to go back in the near term, hopefully, as soon as things open up. But the point is, people don't see it until it's hit them right in the face. Like they've literally taken a punch right to the nose. Another example of this is take a look at the personal training industry. Take a look at Peloton, for example. The bike, right, stock's been performing very well. People said that wouldn't work because, after all, people are going to keep going to gyms, and are they really going to work out in their home? To now, that's the only thing you can do. All the personal trainers I know, their businesses are shutting down. Their physical locations are going bankrupt and going to zero. And what it's also proving, because all these platforms are moving digital, let's say you are a personal trainer, and I think that's a really cool industry. I mean, part of me wishes that I would have done that. I was an athlete for years, and I love the personal interaction with people and all these kinds of things, health and wellness. But now, because you can't go into your studio and you can't train people physically and you can't go to a gym, you're totally out of a job. And all companies like Peloton need to do, instead of there being millions and millions and millions and millions of personal trainers out there all over the country and all over the world, all they need to do is hire like 10 people, right? The 10 best. And then they're going to put them in a studio somewhere in New York City or somewhere else, and then they're going to sell subscriptions on all of it. And so all those other people won't have jobs, and those jobs aren't going to come back. Now, I have a lot of friends in the personal training industry. One of them is pretty smart, and he started online social media marketing with me about 10 years ago. And that's the only part of his business that is still making money and still surviving. His physical location is bankrupt. And is the only saving grace is that 10 years ago, because he was an early mover, and I talk about this all the time at bitcoinrich.com, it's the reason why you should subscribe, because not only do I teach you about new tech, how blockchain will become a part of your new job and career, whether or not you're a real estate agent or you're a personal trainer. My personal training buddy knows all about blockchain. He's enrolled in my school. Why? Because we've learned that you've got to be early, you've got to pivot, which is what all you have to do right now, or perish. Honestly, that's what's going to happen. If you don't make a move now, and you don't start thinking opportunistically about the future, and you don't figure out how to do business in an entirely new way, harnessing digital platforms, blockchain technology, different types of technologies like this, then you're going to get left behind. You're going to perish. There was even a CNBC.com article on this today. It said basically pivot or perish, which is what I've been saying for a very long time. So all of this is happening. It's not getting better. They're warning us of a second wave. The point is, what are you doing tuning in? Right? You know, we've talked about real wealth. We've talked about how people are reevaluating their location. They're reevaluating, might be a good idea to grow my own food. Might be a good idea to have a couple acres of land. Might be a good idea to have a community that I'm involved in. Might be a better idea to, attend church and build those relationships and work on my spiritual life and those kinds of things. People are starting to think differently. And I've talked about this for over a decade, that the minute something like this happened, the psychological impact and shift would hit everybody like a brick wall. Similarly to what we saw during the Great Depression, where it went from greed in the roaring 20s leading into 1929, where the taxi cab drivers, were telling you to buy what stocks to buy, to a total collapse, a decade or longer depression, in a world war. In fact, the only thing that really hasn't happened that we've talked about on this channel officially is the world war. Everything else has happened. Global lockdown, massive depression, unemployment, infringement of liberty, freedom, censorship, all that's happened. What else? I mean, pretty much everything's happened that we've talked about. International travel restrictions, everything moving online. Bitcoin would explode. Blockchain would be the future of technology. It would go through the roof. It would be adapted and adopted by mainstream institutions, Wall Street. A couple billionaires just spoke on this last week, said they bought a lot of Bitcoin. Again, the only things that have happened is that oil has gone to zero. Okay? Bitcoin went to 10K. It's at 10K now. It's going to go to 100K. And for those of you that don't understand, it's going to maybe go to 1 million. It might go to 400K. Who knows how far it go? I think it'll at least 40x from here. Because if you compare it to the gold market, gold is a multi-trillion-dollar asset. Bitcoin is only a multi-100-billion-dollar asset, roughly. Okay, so that the whole crypto market cap is like what, $260 billion or something like this. And what people don't understand about this, they think it's hard. And they'll say things like, Christopher, blockchain's going to be used to enslave you. It could. Yeah, I'll be brutally honest with you. I talk about this at school. It could. Or it could be used to free you. It can be used as a tool of freedom. Let me give you an example of this. I was speaking to this yesterday because there's this really cool project called Orchid. And I'm not paid to say this or anything. I don't have any kind of business dealings with them, but it's called the Orchid Protocol. And it's a virtual private network that you install on your phone on the Ethereum blockchain, and you pay OXT, and it allows you to surf the internet privately. And it works with other browsers that Brendan Ike created, browsers like Brave Browser and the BAT token. So you know how they're trying to do like contact tracing and all this kind of stuff right now, which people would argue, man, is that going to be used to enslave you? Well, it could. Or you could build platforms like Orchid and technology that actually gives you more freedom. So that's super cool, right? That's super awesome. You should probably learn about this stuff. And by the way, I think OXT was up like 30% or something today, or 20% or something like that. It's pretty cool. So you know about these opportunities if you were thinking opportunistically. The point is, you have to pivot now. You've got to pivot. You absolutely have to pivot. Learning about blockchain technology is an imperative. Whether or not you take my course at bitcoinrich.com or not, or you go learn about it somewhere else, or you open up books. I mean, I'll be honest, it took me 10 years to really get a grapple of it. And then to put together the coursework and the dozens of videos. And we've traveled pretty much all over the world, Singapore, Asia, Americas, all over, meeting all kinds of people. I mean, we were talking with Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Computers 2 years ago. We were talking with Brock Pierce and, many of the founders of some of these new technologies like EOS, for example, years and years ago. Charlie Schrim, Charlie Lee, Tone Vase. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I've been telling you to study this stuff. This is the time to build. This is the time to pivot. Similarly, so it was the time to learn about social media marketing and e-commerce 10, 12 years ago. Now, for all of you tuning in, if you want to survive, this is just the hard truth. You have to learn about this stuff. You're going to have to figure out how to use these platforms. You have to learn how to sell your product or service online. You've got to set that stuff up, right? If you don't know how to open up an e-commerce shop or drop ship different products or work with vendors and these kinds of things I've been doing for years. And in fact, I'm going to be adding a lot more content like that. And I'm going to bonus that out at bitcoinrich.com. Another benefit of subscribing. I do have several videos that teach you how to build a brand online and how to utilize social media marketing to sell things online. So the point is, click the link below, join today. No matter what you do and what industry you're in, from real estate to personal training, to you're an insurance agent, to you're a wealth advisor, everything's going to change. Now, here's the beauty of it. If you actually pivot today and you take action, you learn about these new technologies, you will have a distinct competitive advantage over everyone else. For example, I'm not in the real estate business, but with the tools that I understand with blockchain, honestly, I mean, maybe I should even do this if there's any good real estate agents out there and you guys want to partner up in some way. We could literally just corner and dominate the entire market because we would take the traditional industry, roll it on its head, utilize the technology like blockchain, marketing online, and these other tools. And we could basically just destroy all of our competition very easily. We can corner the entire market because so many people don't understand what this new tech is. So let's dig a little deeper. There's been a complete Uberization of society, right? Look at Uber. This is going to happen to real estate. This is going to happen to the insurance business. This is going to happen to financial advisors. Robots, machine learning technology, blockchain, algorithms, all information technology is the new oil. Probably another reason why oil is at zero, because we still need oil, but we don't need it like we once did. This is actually why Saudi Arabia in the Middle East has been diversifying, and the kingdom of the Saudis has been diversifying out of oil the last couple of years and westernizing themselves and investing much more in technology. So you basically have a society where there only are a few essential functions. One of them's tech. Pretty much all the platforms are digital platforms online. All education has moved online. All selling has moved online. All marketing has moved online. But here's a problem for most of you. You can learn these things. That's great. You can build, let's say, an e-commerce shop. Okay? You can learn about blockchain. But if you can't target customers and you have no one to sell to, then it doesn't even matter. You could have the best platform or website in the world, but if you don't know how to market online, things that I've also been teaching for years, and I teach this at bitcoinrich.com, I teach these at our educational platforms, then you're out of business. What's the point of even starting an online e-commerce shop if you can't market to the right people to sell whatever product, service it is that you have? So you need to be doing all of these things right now. You need to take action. You need to realize that the old economy ain't coming back. It's just not coming back. That's the hard truth. It's not coming back. All signs point to the negative. I mean, you can't even travel still. It's been 2 months. People have been locked down for 2 months and can't get haircuts. I mean, it's not going back to normal. 11 Secret Service members of Donald Trump literally are infected right now. The UK has a 14-day, they're about to impose a 14-day travel restriction, as I read in the news today on CNBC. Most of you are still locked in your home. Now, as they start to open things up, people's minds are different, though. They've changed. Do you want to be in a gym and touching everything if we're worried about a second wave? No. Like, again, the whole game has changed forever. And what frustrates me sometimes is that people can't see far enough ahead. They just don't understand. So what's going to happen? All this talent, all this energy, all this mind juice, all this money, all of it's going to pour into new areas, mostly into technology and mostly into blockchain. This goes for your investments, your 401k, your retirement accounts, as they continue to sink. And I believe that the U.S. stock market will continue to crash after a couple months here of just kind of bouncing around like it did in 1929 and then sinking. You're going to have baby boomers. You're going to have young people. I have friends. They said that they have retirement accounts, for example, that they opened up 10 years ago that have done nothing. They're just flat at zero. They've made no money. It hasn't even kept up with inflation. So at some point, people realize the obvious. Now, unfortunately, this is probably going to happen when Bitcoin is at $100,000. When Bitcoin's at $100,000, there's going to be a lot of interest, and it's probably going to go to $250,000 and then $1 million. People are going to realize technologies like Orchid and the Brave browser are the future of tech. Then it'll be obvious. Everyone's going to be pouring into it. Just like everybody's trying to figure out how to build a YouTube channel now. Like, dude, you're 10 years late. I'm not saying that you can't do it. You can. But you need to be forward looking, and you need to be pivoting or perishing right now. You need to pivot your business. So if you're small, medium size, and by the way, another thing we can all do to help each other is to support local businesses, right? Instead, the big box stores are going to be here forever, okay? They're the ones that get all the bailouts. They're not going to have any problems. They're essential. The way that you can help each other in your communities is investing in your local mom and pop shops, doing business with, local e-commerce shops, mom and pops. My gold business, which does very, very well, that's a local, small, medium-sized business, which employs a lot of people back in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's not some big, giant conglomerate, commercialized company that gets bailouts and gets PPE loans. We don't get any of that. I mean, I still have friends that are furloughed that have not applied 2 months ago for unemployment and still don't have the check. I mean, guys, if you don't take action, you're going to starve. Do you understand that? So I want you to be opportunistic. I want you to be optimistic. I want you to understand that everything has changed, and you've got to start putting your mind. You can control your mindset. You can control what you're feeding in your mind. You can start asking more positive questions, like, why is this happening for me? Not why did I lose my job, or why am I stuck in my home, or why does this economy suck, or why is there 30 million people unemployed? But hey, this is an opportunity to be even better. This is an opportunity to grow. At the end of the day, it's not about money. It's not about any of those things. It's about changing the world. And one of the ways that I think we can all do it is together. It's one of the great things about BitcoinRich.com is we have tens of thousands of students. I'm networking with everybody there. My students network. Some of them are forming new businesses. You can ask questions. Myself or my support team is constantly involved. You learn all the fundamentals. You don't have to be a tech expert. Just like being on social media, all of you guys have cell phones, right? So if you can do that, you can do blockchain. You can join my school. It's really easy. Just go to BitcoinRich.com. That's it. It's that simple. You start with video number 1. You'll learn all this new material at your own pace from anywhere in the world. I mean, you can't even go to college or university anymore. So, you have to do it online. This is one of the reasons why I've been teaching online, because, again, these events are predictable. You can see where the major macro shifts are headed. So here's my point. Take action. Bet on yourself. Invest in yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. If you think an unemployment check is going to save you for what's coming, it's not. It's not. It's not going to protect you and your family. And more importantly, there is an amazing competitive advantage and strength into having access to information that other people don't. I spend thousands and thousands of dollars every year, when we could traveling, meeting with people, I've had like amazing conversations with people like Jim Rogers, another guy I met in Singapore. He's a very famous hedge fund manager that used to work with George Soros. I learned a ton from him. I mean, he gave me a lot of insight. You know what he told me a couple of years ago? He said that this was going to happen. There's going to be a Great Depression. It's going to be terrible. I listened to him. I try to listen to the people who are smart, and that's why I bring a lot of these people to my school. I've got hedge fund managers at BitcoinRich.com. I've got technologists at BitcoinRich.com. I review different types of platforms, technologies. All of this is building a better, more beautiful, empowering internet. And as I've always said, I personally want to say in what's being built. Like anything could be used for evil. I'll give you another example. You know that the internet came from DARPA, right? It's literally a black project that they started in and around the Cold War, like a new form of Morse code, to be used if, for example, the grid ever went down. It was built by the government. But you all use it, so does that mean you're evil if you use the internet? No, of course not. You use the internet for good or evil. So don't think too hard about this stuff. All of you use digital US dollars. They come from nothing. Notice how they're digitally sending money to people's bank accounts, the ones that are lucky enough to get the unemployment or PPE loans. It's not like they're sending wads of cash because all money is digital. The only difference with the US dollar, it's backed by nothing and it's printed to infinity. And now oil, which is pretty much essentially collapsed at zero, it's not even backed by that. So the whole global economy, central banks, all of technology, every single mom and pop, small, medium size, and then more importantly, all the large businesses, which are going to make more money. This is just one big wealth transfer. And that's what's happening. That's what happened in 2009. And if you're not pivoting, leveraging, and profit, as I always say at our school, it's going to get worse for you. That's the honest to gosh truth. I'm not being negative. I'm telling you the truth. So be positive. Take action. Realize this is an opportunity. Join us at BitcoinRich.com. We have 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, we'll give you your money back. We accept all major credit cards. We accept PayPal. We accept all major cryptocurrencies. Anything that you want to do to join. And there's really no risk that you cannot take on yourself to empower yourself with information, knowledge that can change your life, the world, the people and communities, churches, systems that you care about. So would you all not just help us build a better system? I love you guys. And again, you don't take my course, go learn it somewhere else. It took me 10 years to learn all this stuff. It might take you 10 years too. Or you can just take my course and in a weekend pretty much learn everything that I know and then get our constant updates of new opportunities of vlogs that I'm doing Monday through Friday. That's pretty cool. And there's already 30,000+ students there. So it's like a really dope community too. Like again, let me know. Maybe you got a few real estate agents out there. You guys want to start a new company with me? We could absolutely dominate. We'll just Uberize the entire industry. Okay? I mean, seriously, there's so much opportunity across industries, across the board. You need to be thinking like that now. Not thinking about the old world, not thinking your job's coming back, not thinking the economy is going to reopen to where it once was again. It's not going back to that. Everything has changed, and it's creating an opportunity for those of you that sees it. I love you. Jesus Christ is King. God bless. See you at school. Click link below.